They say some nights can change everything. I never thought mine would start with exhaustion and end with my straight roommate's hands on me. It began like any ordinary night. The usual noise, the kind that turns hours into a blur until you look up and realize the sun's gone without warning. Work had drained me. Class had numbed me. By the time I walked through the apartment door, I was already half asleep. I kicked off my shoes, dropped my bag somewhere near the corner, barely noticing the familiar voice drifting from the kitchen. "You alive?" he asked, not even looking up from his snack. I mumbled, "Yeah," and kept walking, my brain too fried to care. This was our rhythm. I came home late. He stayed up later. That was just us. Two college guys sharing a place for nearly a year. No real connection, just a cheap lease and a broken washing machine. I kept to myself, quiet, reserved, the kind of guy who filled a room with silence. He was the opposite, always talking, always laughing, always with someone new. His cologne practically lived in the hallway. If you'd asked me months ago what I thought of him, I'd have said chill, a little annoying sometimes, but decent, definitely straight. That part seemed obvious. He never said it, but he didn't have to. The girls, the flirtation, the late-night texts, it all spoke for him. So I stayed out of his way. What was the point, right? But somewhere, something shifted. I don't even know when it started. Maybe it was the night we both crashed on the couch, some random movie playing while his leg brushed mine and didn't move. Or the time I caught him staring, a little too long, like he was trying to read something hidden just beneath my skin. I told myself not to think about it. He was just being friendly, touchy, the way some guys are. But it kept happening. And each time, the moments lasted just a little longer, like something was forming between us. Quiet, unspoken, real. Still that night, I didn't expect anything. I planned to shower, crawl into bed, and fall asleep to white noise. But when I opened the bathroom door, towel slung over my shoulder, there he was, sitting on the edge of my bed. Not lounging, not joking, just sitting, his back slightly hunched, hands clasped together. He looked different, like he was thinking too hard. "You good?" I asked, rubbing my towel over my hair. He nodded but didn't move. "Can I crash here tonight?" I paused. We had separate rooms. Always had. We didn't share space unless someone was sick or hosting company, and he wasn't either of those. "I just don't feel like being alone," he said quietly, like he wasn't sure he should have spoken. "Yeah, sure," I replied, trying to sound casual. "If you want." He nodded again, slower this time, and got under the covers without another word. I followed, trying not to overthink it, but the air felt heavy, like it was waiting for something. The room was dim, a soft hallway light spilling in. Every shift of the blankets felt louder than it should have. We didn't face each other, didn't speak, but I could feel him, his warmth, his breath, the quiet rhythm of his body next to mine. I tried to distract myself, counting cracks in the ceiling, thinking about lectures, anything to drown out the awareness of how close we were. Then he shifted, barely an inch, but I felt it. His arm brushed mine, skin to skin, and didn't pull back. I told myself not to read into it. Maybe he was already asleep. Maybe it didn't mean anything. Then he moved again. A small shift. A little closer, like he was testing something. And then, so softly I almost missed it, he whispered, "You awake?" My throat tightened. "Yeah," I breathed. He didn't say anything at first. Then I felt it, his breath against the back of my neck, warm and real. His hand moved slowly, gently from the space between us, to rest on my waist. I froze. "I don't know what I'm doing," he said, "but I can't stop thinking about this. About you." Air caught in my lungs. My heart was pounding like it wanted out of my chest. He didn't push, didn't demand. He just waited. And I didn't move. I couldn't. Not out of fear, but because I wanted this. More than I knew. He leaned in, resting his forehead on my shoulder. His voice was barely audible. "Is this weird?" I turned just enough to catch the faint outline of his face. "Yeah," I whispered, but not in a bad way. And just like that, I knew. Things would never be the same. When he pulled back, when the quiet returned, I didn't know if it was the beginning of something or just a fleeting moment born of confusion and closeness. But we didn't move. We just lay there side by side, and in the stillness I felt it, a shift, a weight, a truth neither of us was ready to say out loud. But somehow, both of us already knew, close but not touching, both of us pretending to be calm while our thoughts spiraled beneath the surface. I told myself to sleep, to let it go, but my body wouldn't relax and my mind wouldn't slow down. So I quietly slipped out of bed, needing something, air, water, distance, anything to stop me from saying something too soon or wanting something too much. I stood in the hallway longer than I meant to, the door behind me still slightly ajar. The sheets were twisted, still warm from where we'd just been moments ago. The air felt too still, too quiet. My skin still buzzed from his nearness. I told myself I was just thirsty, that I needed a glass of water before sleep. But the truth was, I needed to get out of that room. I needed space to think, to breathe, to unravel whatever had started between us, because it wasn't nothing. I padded into the kitchen, the cool tiles grounding me, opened the fridge more out of habit than hunger, grabbed a glass and filled it at the sink, sipping slowly, trying to quiet the chaos in my head. He had touched me, whispered, held me like he knew exactly what he was doing. But he'd also looked unsure. And maybe I was too, not afraid of him, just of what it meant. He was my roommate, my straight roommate. And yet nothing about that moment had felt accidental. It felt charged, real, like something long hidden had finally stepped into the light. But I didn't want to assume too much. What if I'd read it all wrong? What if I pushed and ruined everything? I leaned back against the counter and closed my eyes, exhaling slowly. Let time do its thing, I thought. Let it settle before you try to figure it out. And that's when it happened. My foot slid on something slick. Maybe water, maybe just my own distraction. I lost my balance, legs giving out beneath me. The glass hit the ground but didn't shatter. I wasn't as lucky. I landed hard on one side, pain shooting up my lower back. I hissed, reaching for the counter, but couldn't get up. I must have made more noise than I realized because seconds later, he was there. Wide-eyed, breathless, wearing nothing but a loose t-shirt and boxers. You okay? What happened? He dropped beside me, one hand steadying my shoulder, the other bracing my arm. I slipped, I muttered, wincing. My back kind of hurts. Damn, he breathed, helping me sit up gently. Can you stand? I think so. He slid an arm under mine and hoisted me with care. Our bodies pressed together, the contact sudden, warm, inescapable. I could feel his breath on my cheek as he steadied me. Thanks, I murmured, still leaning into him. He let out a soft, nervous laugh. Do you fall often, or was that just for attention? I rolled my eyes. Only when I'm thinking too hard. About? He asked. I didn't answer. We made it to the couch, and he helped me ease down slowly. I winced again as I settled into the cushions, my back protesting. You want something for it? He asked. Ice? I'll be okay, just stiff. He paused, biting the inside of his cheek, then more casual than necessary said, Want me to try rubbing it out? My mom's a physical therapist. I've picked up a few tricks. I gave him a look. Just your back, he added quickly, raising his hands in mock surrender. Despite everything, I nodded. He moved behind me, and I leaned forward slightly. His hands found my shoulders first, thumbs pressing gently into tight muscles. It felt harmless. Helpful even. His palms were warm, his touch strong but careful. I let my eyes fall shut, my head dropping forward. Let me know if it hurts, he murmured, his voice closer now. He worked lower, fingers following the curve of my spine. The pressure was perfect. Too perfect. I felt myself melt into it, the ache fading, replaced with something else entirely. Then something shifted. His hands didn't pull away. They lingered, pressed, explored. I let out a sound, half sigh, half something else, and he froze, just for a second. Then, he kept going, My shirt was thin, too thin. When his hands slipped beneath it, skin to skin, I didn't stop him. I didn't want to. "Okay?" he asked, voice low now. I nodded. "Yeah." He slid the shirt up and off without asking, and I let him. The cool air hit my skin, but his hands kept me warm. He moved with curiosity now, less hesitation. His fingers traced the small of my back, slow and thoughtful. I leaned forward more. He leaned in too. His chest brushed my shoulder. His knee touched the back of my leg. It was happening. I turned slightly, catching his eyes over my shoulder. His gaze flicked between my eyes and my lips. He looked dazed, wanting. Neither of us said a word, and that's when I noticed it. His breathing had deepened. His hands had gone still, resting on my bare back like he wasn't sure what came next. I shifted slightly, testing him. He reacted, moved closer. His fingers tightened, like he was trying to hold himself back. I turned more, our faces inches apart, breath to breath, the tension coiling into a single, silent question. His lips parted. Mine did too, but we didn't kiss. Not yet. We just stayed there, caught in the space, between restraint and surrender, eyes locked, hands lingering, silence louder than any words. Then his hands began moving again, slower, more deliberate. They slid down the lines of my back, tracing heat and hesitation. The careful kneading from before had shifted into something deeper, an exploration, like he was learning me through touch, like every inch of skin uncovered something inside him too. His fingertips brushed the waistband of my pants, hovered, then dipped just beneath the hem. Innocent, but enough to make my breath catch. And still, I didn't stop him. I didn't move, just shifted slightly, enough to make it easier, enough to let him know I was here, open, ready if he was. He leaned in, chest pressing against my back, lips so close to my neck I could feel them tremble. One hand rested firmly on my hip. The other slid around to my side, pulling me gently against him. I could feel it then. No more guessing, no more maybe. He was hard, and he wasn't pulling away. The air between us thickened, warm, heavy, silent, except for the sound of our breathing. I turned my head just slightly, enough to feel the heat of his cheek against mine. For a second, I thought I imagined it. The way he hesitated, the way his fingers tensed, like he might let go, back away. But instead, he moved closer. His lips grazed my jaw, tentative, like he was testing the weight of the moment. My eyes fluttered shut. My hands found his, grounding myself in the reality of what was happening. "I want to," he whispered, voice rough and uncertain. I don't know what's happening to me." "You don't have to figure it out right now," I murmured. "Just feel it." He shifted again, and this time, his mouth brushed against mine. Not a full kiss, not yet, just the shape of one, a promise hanging in the breath between us. And just when he leaned in to close the space, to finally give in, buzz, he froze. Buzz. The sound cut through everything like a blade. His body, once so eager and warm, went stiff behind me. His breath hitched. He pulled away, just enough to break the contact. I turned to look at him, heart pounding. Buzz. He reached over and grabbed his phone from the edge of the coffee table. The glow of the screen lit up his face. I saw it then. The name. Her. He didn't answer. Didn't move for a second. Just stared at the name like it meant something he didn't want to remember. His jaw clenched. He dropped his gaze to the floor, thumb hovering over the screen. "I can't do this," he muttered under his breath. He stood abruptly, stepping back like he'd been burned. I sat up slowly, wrapping my arms around myself. Not because I was cold, but because suddenly I felt bare in a different way. She wasn't supposed to call," he said, pacing now, still holding the phone like it was made of fire. "I haven't talked to her in weeks. Not really, just 1 or 2 texts." "You don't have to explain anything," I said gently. But he wasn't hearing me. He was unraveling. "I thought I loved her," he said, voice cracking. "I really did. For so long, I built my whole life around it. What we were, who I was supposed to be. He ran a hand through his hair, eyes wild with something more than panic, something deeper, something broken. But this, he looked at me now, really looked. This feels different, real, and I don't know what the hell that means. I stood slowly, unsure whether to go to him or give him space. The look in his eyes was too raw to ignore, like he was balancing on the edge of something he didn't understand and was terrified to fall. She was my plan, he whispered. The future I thought I was supposed to have. I've told people I was straight my whole life. Never even questioned it. He took a step back, then forward again, like he was trying to run from something and crash into it all at once. And now, I can't stop thinking about you, about last night, about just now. His voice dropped to a whisper. I was going to kiss you. I was going to. I don't even know what I was going to do. But it felt right. And that scares the hell out of me. I took a breath, slow, careful as I stepped toward him. You don't have to be anything right now. Not for her, not for me. You're allowed to be confused. But what if this isn't confusion? He asked, eyes shining with something close to tears. What if this is the first time I've ever felt honest? My chest tightened. We stood there, suspended in the tension of everything unspoken. The air felt like it could shatter from the weight of what we weren't saying. He looked down at the phone again. The screen had gone dark, but the echo of her call still lingered, like it was screaming between us. Then, he set the phone on the table and looked up at me. I don't want to answer her, he said, but I can't pretend she didn't call. You don't have to decide anything tonight. His eyes flicked to mine, searching for what I didn't know. His shoulders slumped, like the fight inside him had quieted. For now. Can I just stay, he asked. Right here, with you. I nodded. He stepped forward, slow, uncertain, and without another word I wrapped my arms around him. He folded into me like someone who hadn't been held in far too long. I didn't kiss him. He didn't try. We just stood there, two hearts beating out of sync, trying to find a rhythm in the middle of the wreckage. And somehow, even in the silence, it felt like the beginning of something neither of us had ever dared to say out loud. The room was quiet again, but the silence had changed. It wasn't awkward or heavy like before. It was tender, raw, like the hush that follows a storm when everything is still wet and fragile. He stood close, arms lightly at his sides like he didn't know what to do with them anymore. I could still feel the echo of his confession, the weight in his voice when he said, "This feels real." That wasn't something you could take back, and I didn't want him to. I reached for his hand. He didn't flinch. Our fingers barely laced together, a simple touch, but it steadied him. He looked at me, eyes red around the edges, the vulnerability in his gaze, unlike anything I'd ever seen from him. You okay? I asked softly. He gave a breath of a laugh, but it was hollow. No, he admitted. I don't think I've been okay for a long time. Do you want to talk? He hesitated, then nodded. His eyes drifted to the couch. We sat side by side, close but not touching, the kind of closeness that feels heavier because of everything unsaid. I always thought I had it figured out, he said after a beat. Be the guy who doesn't ask questions, date the girls everyone liked, say the right things, do the right things. Win. That was the goal. Always winning. I didn't say anything, just listened, let him unpack without interruption. My dad used to say things like, don't be soft or man up when I was a kid. And I don't think I even realized how deep that went, like how much I buried just to be what everyone expected. He rubbed the back of his neck, his voice growing quieter. I think I convinced myself that if I didn't feel it, it wasn't real. That attraction, emotion, hell, even confusion only meant something if you gave it a name. So I didn't. I shoved it all down. And now, I asked. He looked at me, eyes tired but honest. Now you're here, and I don't know how to ignore it anymore. There was a pause, not a painful one, just the kind that lets something settle between two people. I leaned in slowly, resting my head gently against his shoulder. He exhaled, like the contact gave him permission to release something he'd been holding in for years. I don't want to fake it anymore, he whispered. You don't have to. He turned his face slightly. I felt the warmth of his breath near my temple. Then softly, without tension, he kissed me. It wasn't rushed or hungry, just slow, full of hesitation and meaning, like we were both trying to memorize it as it happened. I turned into him, hand on his jaw, the kiss deepening without either of us forcing it. His hand slid around my waist, pulling me closer, and the feel of his body against mine, solid, familiar, different now, sent a shiver through me. His lips parted, tasting mine more boldly, and I responded, without fear. Then I moved, just a little too quickly, shifted my weight. Ah, ow, I hissed, instinctively pulling back, reaching for my lower back. He froze. Shit, are you okay? Just the fall from earlier, I grimaced. It flares when I twist too fast. A soft smile spread across his face, not mocking, but warm. He laughed under his breath, brushing a hand against my cheek. Only you would ruin a perfectly good kiss with back pain. I'm a man of many talents, I joked, wincing. He didn't hesitate. Lie down, I got you. What, you're going to medically seduce me? Something like that, he murmured, already helping me ease down against the cushions. His hands moved slowly, carefully guiding me until I was comfortable. Then he hovered above me, expression unreadable at first, eyes scanning my face, my mouth, the slow rise and fall of my chest. This okay? He asked, voice barely above a whisper. I nodded, and then we stopped talking. His lips met mine again. This time, no pause, no uncertainty, just quiet urgency. Slow movements, long breaths, fingers tracing skin like every inch of me was unfamiliar and sacred. His touch was gentle but bold, like he was unlearning and relearning everything he thought he knew. My body responded before my mind could catch up. It wasn't perfect. It was clumsy, hesitant at times, but it was real. Every shift, every sigh, every graze of his mouth told me he wasn't just offering comfort. He wanted me, and I wanted him. I don't know when we stopped thinking. I don't know when the air got hotter or when the space between us vanished. I just remember the way his lips moved to my neck, the way his hands explored. Me like he was trying to understand something no one ever taught him to look for. The way he whispered my name between kisses, like saying it made this less terrifying, more true. Clothes disappeared, time slowed. The world shrunk to two bodies moving together in unspoken rhythm. He wasn't performing. He was reaching. And I gave myself to it. To him, completely, without fear. We didn't rush. We didn't stumble into it. It unfolded like it had always been waiting to happen. It wasn't lust driving it. It was everything that had simmered in our silences, in glances, in laughter and confusion and sleepless nights. It was made of everything we hadn't said. When it slowed, when our bodies finally stilled and rested against each other, there was no regret, just the soft sound of his breathing and the weight of his arm draped over my chest. His head rested near mine, his heartbeat still racing, not from panic, but something tender. He didn't speak. Neither did I, because for once, words weren't necessary. The light slipping through the blinds was soft, golden, the kind that usually feels peaceful, but not today. I woke slowly, still tangled in sheets that weren't just mine anymore. Skin bare, limbs heavy with memory. The spot beside me was empty, still warm, but empty. At first I thought he was in the bathroom, but minutes passed. The apartment stayed quiet. Something in my chest started to tighten. I sat up, stretching. My back ached. So did something deeper. No note, no message, no footsteps. I pulled on a shirt and stepped into the living room. Couch untouched, his phone charger still plugged in, keys still hanging, kitchen spotless. His bedroom door open, just slightly. I peeked in. The bed was made, empty, like last night never happened. I leaned against the counter trying to keep my thoughts in check, but they spiraled fast. Was it too much? Did he regret it? Was she the first thing he thought of this morning? Then my phone buzzed. My heart jumped. It was him. Roommate, hey, I'm sorry I left. My ex messaged me late last night. I had to talk to her. I didn't know what else to do. I stared at the screen, fingers poised, unsure what to say. Then another buzz. Roommate, but I don't want to lose this. Whatever this is, I don't want last night to be the only time. My breath caught. Then don't. Just come back. There was silence for a long time. Then the front door opened. He stepped in. Hair messy, hoodie half-zipped, eyes unreadable. He didn't speak, just looked at me like he hadn't decided if he should even be here. I waited. I needed to know. Before I could ask what happened, he stepped forward, closed the space in a blink, and kissed me. No warning, no preface, just lips on mine. Firm, unyielding, desperate. I stiffened. Wait, I whispered against his mouth. You didn't answer me. That's for later, he murmured. Right now, I just need this. I need you. His hand slid under my shirt like he'd been there 1,000 times. My body gave in before my mind could argue. He kissed me like he was afraid it would be the last time, and I let him. There was no rush, no frenzy, just a slow unraveling, clothes falling away, breaths deepening. His touch had changed, gentler, more reverent. Not just exploration, but recognition, like our bodies remembered what our hearts were still afraid to say. He hovered above me, jaw tense, brow furrowed, not in doubt, but focus. Need. He whispered my name between kisses like grounding himself. I whispered his back, like a promise. We gave in again, fully, quietly, no theatrics, just breathless exhales, mouths tracing skin like prayers. When it ended, and we lay tangled together again, the silence felt heavier. He held me tighter than before. But I felt it, the hesitation, the pause, the inhale that stuttered, not from pleasure, but thought. I met her, he said finally, voice quiet. We talked, but I couldn't decide. I didn't move. She wants to meet again next week. My stomach twisted, but I didn't pull away. And what about us? I asked. He looked at me, eyes flickering. I don't know yet, he said. I told her I needed space, but I didn't say no. My breath caught. So you're still deciding? He nodded slowly. I didn't expect this. I didn't expect you. The silence stretched again, no longer soft, no longer comforting. Now it was sharp, heavy with everything unsaid. I don't want to lose you either, he whispered, but I'm scared of what comes next. I turned toward him, my voice barely audible. Then don't leave, not yet. He exhaled and kissed my temple. But this time, it didn't feel like a promise. It felt like the moment before something breaks. And as he closed his eyes against my skin, I couldn't help but wonder. When he met her next week, would he still come back to me?